What's up? So, kind of thinking, not just kind of, been, how do I put it? More or less been thinking just how to say this, I guess you could say. Or I could say whatever. These days, I'm going to kind of wing this a little bit, because I'm doing my best to be clear about this. I know I sometimes have an issue where I'll speak on something, and then I go to jump to something else, and I don't even go back, so I kind of don't finish what I'm saying at times. But I think these days a lot of people, they want to say that, or they want to pull the bullshit when they start to gossip or talk shit about someone with the intent to do harm, because that's what shit talking is. Gossip, there's not necessarily the intent to do harm. It's just simply it's the rumor mill thing. It's to simply just, hey, guess what Becky did? And you know how gossips work. The first person might tell you exactly what happened, but then the second person puts their own little flair to it. And it gets twisted each time. So people know how gossiping turns into a rumor mill that ends up actually doing damage. So the original person may not have had intent, but then it turns into an unintentional doing of harm to another person. That's what gossiping does. Gossiping also has no intent of keeping the person that it's about from finding out necessarily. Then you have shit talking. Shit talking is what people do when they have the intent to do harm to somebody, but they also don't want that person to find out. And seeing what happens is when that person finds out that this other person's been pulling some shit, what do? They get confronted on their shit, and then the person who is talking all that crap, because talking shit has the same effect as gossiping. It turns into a rumor, and each time it goes from one person to the next, it gets worse and worse and worse. The difference is the person who started talking shit had the intent for it to do that damage. Not just go, hey, guess what happened? And those same types of people, when they get called out on their actions or their mouth, they want to get angry and will try to tell you that you're talking shit. That's a defense mechanism. That's where they're trying to flip the table, flip the script, or just simply not take responsibility for their shit. They want to add to it. See, there's a saying, there's a difference between talking shit and telling the truth about shitty people. Or telling the truth about a shitty situation. Because when someone's actually telling the truth, they're more apt to say it to you. Or if it comes down to a situation where they're incapable of saying it to you, they will say it in a way that it can directly go to you, basically. They're calling you out on your shit. Yet at the same time, some of them, they might say something, they don't have to include a name, and then your own ass ends up giving yourself away by getting angry about it. And then you want to call it ratting. We'll go into that in a little bit, maybe, after. See, examples of talking shit versus stating, the truth about a shitty situation or a shitty person. So when you're talking shit, you don't want that person to find out, necessarily. When you're talking shit, you're out with the intent to do harm. You're causing people to isolate that person that you're talking shit about. You're causing people to make a judgment based on your asshole behavior. On your bullshit opinions because you're being pissed off. or spiteful, and you're trying to do harm. So what do? You go around and you take a situation, you might go, oh, but it's the truth. No. Fish stories may be based in truth, but they're not the truth. You're taking a situation and you're giving it your own flair to make yourself look good, when really the situation wasn't even remotely like that. And so when you go around and you just completely avoid telling the truth about your own part of things, or what your involvement is, and you're just simply talking shit, the guy's a loser, the guy's a, forgive me for saying this, folks, the guy's a retard, this, that, and the other. He's lazy, he has no work ethics, all this stuff. It's talking shit. You're trying to sway people's opinion about a person that you dislike or you're angry at. And when you do enough damage, you find that all you can do is talk more shit because you can't tell the truth. See, shitty people are incapable of recognizing what they're doing because they don't give a shit. They don't care. The only time they care is when they get caught. And then that's when they're more apt to talk shit directly to the person when they get caught, because now they're in defense, and the only thing that they can do is get angry and either start accusing them of more shit to their face, and the only thing that they can do is call them names, call them a loser, a tweaker, a drug addict, all this other shit, and follow it up with making threats. They can't legitimately back anything up that they're stating at that point, because they know what they did was wrong. And when they're more apt to spend energy to try and defend their shit talking, instead of going, I was wrong, I shouldn't have just kept lying, I could, because that's the thing, shit talking involves lies. Telling the truth about a shitty person, you're not out intentionally going, hey, guess what? Somebody asks you about something, you're going to tell them the fucking truth and tell it like it is in the right way. Not give your own flair. Not be afraid to speak what maybe even your part of things. And take responsibility. So when someone's out, yeah, this dude, all he keeps doing is keeps blaming his parents for why things are going wrong. Or anytime his friend talks shit about him or rats him out, and he gets confronted, he wants to get mad for getting confronted. And so, these are just scenarios. Basic scenarios. Simple ones that a lot of people dealt with. When you confront somebody for shit talking, they're more apt, like I said, to talk shit to your face at that point. Call you names, threaten you, do everything they fucking can to degrade you, and won't acknowledge a fucking thing they themselves have done. They'll call you a narcissist too in the process. And then they'll call you a rat, and usually if people are ratting, then that's your own admittance that they didn't lie. They told the truth. You did something you shouldn't have done, and it's not really your place to go and get angry and start calling people names and making threats type thing to deflect why you either were talking shit to the wrong people or you're doing something you knew you shouldn't have been doing. And seeing when it comes to people talking about what somebody's done, doing wrong, telling the truth about a shitty situation or a shitty person, you're not putting necessarily your own flair into it. Like I said, you're not trying to necessarily make them an absolute horrible, shitty person. What you're doing is you're pointing out what they're doing is fucked up. The things that they're doing is fucked up. How they're treating people is fucked up. And when they get angry and defensive and start talking shit again, all they're doing is proving what you're saying is right. That all they can do is talk shit. Like I said, shit talking Most people who talk shit don't want the person they're talking shit about to find out. And when they do, they can only do one of two things: avoid them, or they try to make threats, they talk more shit, they try to degrade the person, but they never once even fucking try to make it right. They won't. They will do everything they can to deflect their responsibility of the damages they did, so that they don't have to take responsibility for their mouths. See, shit talkers don't like it when people rat them out. Shit talkers don't like it when their actions are put in the spotlight, or their words. They don't like it when the real them is thrown on the table because they've spent so much time trying to get everybody else to believe that they're somebody else. Doesn't mean that they're a horrible person. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person or they're a piece of shit. It means they have some really fucked up habits that they need to confront themselves. That they need to start correcting the issues that they're creating for themselves, instead of getting mad at people when their mouths and their shit talking comes back to the people that they talk shit about. Shit talkers don't like it when their shit is laid out there. Nobody really likes that. But when you're being confronted about what you're doing, or what you're doing has done so much damage that you're continuously told to stop, but all you can do is, all they can do is fall back to calling that person names and making threats to them, all that proves is what they're doing and who they really are. And if all they can do is run to their friends or their siblings or family members to talk about how this person treated you, but not once want to bother even acknowledging what their part is in it, but they want to call people narcissists and make threats to them and talk shit about them behind their back to other people, which causes those people to make a judgment based on that shit talking. You know how people go these days, especially these days. All they need to hear is one side of a situation. They think they know everything. They don't even have to be there. And the sad part is, a lot of these people will base their judgments on shit that they heard from somebody who wasn't even there, who wasn't even a part of it, and only heard one side of things, or only heard a piece of what was going on. Shit talkers think they know more about you, but really what they don't realize is they're the ones who are actually telling everybody who they are by doing so. Getting angry at people because you yourself calls people to talk shit, to rat on somebody, when you built a history of doing that, they start to realize you're ratting on yourself too, because a lot of these shit talkers will start accusing people of things that they themselves are doing. Or they'll turn around and rat on somebody, like literally with the intent to do harm, instead of calling people shit out. Going, look, no, you're going to call someone a drug addict, but here you are slinging drugs out of your grandparents' house. There's the difference right there. You want to call somebody a drug addict and a tweaker, but here you are, shit-faced drunk, calling your mom on a couple occasions to brag about how you like to do certain drugs when you drink. But then you want to get mad when people call you out on your shit. Nobody asked you to call a family member or a friend or whoever to tell on yourself or to talk shit to them saying, what are you going to do about it? Go fuck yourself. I'm a grown-ass man or a grown-ass adult, grown-ass woman. This next generation, they want to talk about how they're so responsible and they have all these ethics, but they don't have an ounce of ethics if they can't even recognize what their own shit is doing. And this is happening in every generation. So it's not just this next one, but it seems to get worse with each one. My generation pulled that shit. The generation before us pulled that shit. Because I'm sorry, I've watched old people in their 80s talk shit like they were 18. We all have. And it comes a point when Shitty people who like to talk shit with the intent to alienate and to demonize someone because they're either mad at them for whatever reason, which could be included in getting called out on their shit talking, or they're doing it because they're straight up being a fucking hateful asshole. See, like I said, there's a big difference between talking shit and telling the truth about shitty people. If you're not afraid to tell the truth, even when it includes implementing yourself in guilt too, that's not talking shit. That's not even gossip. When you leave somebody no ability to confront you, and you limit them to one method of way to confront you, you can't get angry about how they're doing so. You shouldn't even be getting angry about them confronting it or addressing it to begin with, when it's your own mouth that created it. Shit talkers don't like to be called out. Shit talkers don't like their shit being aired while they go out and air other people's shit to everybody while making themselves innocent. And I know some people can take this as, well, a lot of people do that. They might take a situation and go, well, that's what you're doing now. Because there comes to a point, there is a difference between calling somebody out on their bullshit when they've done a lot of damage and have talked enough bad shit with inaccuracies. There's no truth to it anymore. All it is to dehumanize someone and to destroy them as a person. And the difference is they're being confronted. See, the shit talking is when you go to other people and you talk shit. And you give your own ringer to it. But when someone's telling the truth about either a shitty situation or a shitty person, they don't necessarily feel the need to go around everywhere else to talk shit to people, and they also don't feel the need to alienate the person that they're telling the truth about. They don't feel the need to make threats to them. They don't feel the need to keep calling them names, not because this person is doing it to themselves. A shit talker is making it easy for other people to basically go, look, no, this is what you are at this point, and this is because it's what you're literally doing. Now, I think these days people need to understand there is a difference between shit talking and telling the truth about a shitty situation or a shitty person. When it's somebody who's telling the truth about a shitty situation or a shitty person, they're not intentionally looking for the next person to go, hey, look, guess what Greg did? And not even acknowledge the situation, just focus on that. So what that does is it causes people to form an opinion, and a negative one, based on what you're saying. Even if you have no knowledge of what actually was going on, you just got hearsay. And what's hearsay? Hearsay is when you hear something from one person about a situation that you actually have no knowledge of or know nothing about because you weren't actually there a part of it. And when you only get one side of things, it makes it worse, because now you're basing that shit talking on already an opinion. So you just continued kind of that rumor mill. That's how, a gossip happens. That's the same thing with a shit talker. That's why I put those in the same pocket. Gossip, like I said, though, doesn't necessarily have the intent to do harm, but it does harm. Talking shit is literal intent to do harm. And some of you might think it's funny. Some of you might go, well, I wasn't trying to hurt that person. Well, what do you think happens when you go around and you say things specifically bad about somebody, and you don't even want to tell the truth about maybe your involvement, or you don't want to tell the truth about what the other person's involvement is? You just want to keep pinging on that one person. That's what bullies do. That's what a piece of shit does. when you got to try and find something wrong with a person to keep talking shit about them. That's a shitty person. But when that shitty person gets confronted, or their shit gets aired, going, look, this needs to stop. This is what you did, and people are finding out this is what you're doing, and they're seeing the truth. Then they want to get mad because they were talking shit, and their shit is being undone. They don't want people to shit talkers don't want the person that they've been talking shit about to not only have contact with the people that they talk shit to, they don't want those people they talk shit to know the whole truth. They have to hope that those people are stupid and naive. Or is just as big of an ignorant asshole as they are. But I'm going to leave it here. That's just my thoughts a bit on when it comes to gossiping, shit talking, and versus people who are just telling the truth about a shitty situation, or even a shitty person. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks, guys.